Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for another chat with ChatGPT. This time I go back a few decades to the JFK assassination con- um, conspiracy theory. It's basically a fact. We know uh, what happened. Anyways, I don't know if many of you know this. If you've paid much attention to this, of course you would know, but if a lot of people probably don't know it. But when Oswald was arrested and taken to the jail in Dallas, he was given one phone call, chance to make a phone call, and the operator at the Texas no at the jail was given a phone number with a name on it that I think was written by Oswald, but she was told by people in authority, I think it was the FBI, to not place the call. So this constitutional, I don't know if it's constitutional or not, but this common right that we all have to place one phone call was denied Oswald. It's so crazy. So I thought, this is a fun little, no, I mean, a fun little one that I could ask ChatGPT about and see if it knows more than I know. I've heard the whole story, but I had a ChatGPT lay it out in bullet points for me, and I thought it might be interesting to you. So here we go. Let me first read my question to it. My first question is, tell me all the available facts surrounding Lee Harvey Oswald's last phone call from the jail. I've heard that phone call was unlawfully not placed by the operator, as the FBI, I think the FBI instructed her not to place the call, and that the phone number was that of most likely his CIA handler or someone like that. Please bullet point all the information so I can easily see the facts. Okay, here we go. Buckle up. Now, so here are the key points regarding Lee Harvey Oswald's alleged phone call from jail. Date and context. Okay, that incident reportedly occurred on the night of November 23rd, 1963, the day before Oswald was killed by Jack Ruby. Oswald was in custody at the Dallas Police Department after being charged with the assassination of President John F. Kennedy and the murder of Officer J.D. Tippit. That was another murder on that day that I found about years later. But I've actually gone to Dallas and walked that path that Oswald actually walked, and I have a YouTube video about that if you'd like to search it from my homepage. Okay, so the attempted phone call. Oswald reportedly attempted to make a phone call from the jail late that night. Details of the call. Oswald wrote the phone number and recipient on a note for the jail staff. The number was to a John Hurt in Raleigh, North Carolina. John Hurt was later identified as a former U.S. Army counterintelligence officer. Interesting. I want to delve into that later. Now, I have not yet, but I'll probably pose a question later about that. Okay, allegations of interference. Reports claim that the call was not placed because the switchboard operator was instructed not to put it through. Okay, the instructions allegedly came from the unidentified federal agents, possibly FBI personnel. Implications of the call. Some researchers and conspiracy theorists believe the call was an attempt by Oswald to reach his CIA handler, as I thought. John Hurt's intelligence background fueled speculation that he was connected to the covert government activities. Not the covert, connected to covert government activities. The operator's testimony. The jail switchboard operator, Alvita Trion, reportedly disclosed decades later that she had been instructed to prevent the call from going through. Her account emerged in the 1980s during a re-examination of JFK assassination evidence. Interesting. Handling of evidence. Documentation of the call attempt surfaced years later, adding to the suspicion of a cover-up. Through next bullet point. The preserved call slip showed, I guess somebody preserved it, showed Oswald's note with the Raleigh number, which conspiracy theorists argue was significant. Alternative theories. This is cover-up material here. Some skeptics dismiss the idea of a CIA handler being involved, suggesting the call could have been a decoy or unrelated to the assassination plot. No, he was calling for help. No concrete evidence directly links Hurt to the CIA or to covert relationship with Oswald. Interesting. Would you like to explain any specific this for? Okay, and then my follow-up question. Was John Hurt ever investigated or interviewed by anyone? You think he would be, right? Think again. John Hurt, the individual associated with the phone number Lee Harvey Oswald reportedly tried to call, has a mysterious role in the broader narrative. Here is what is known about investigations or interviews related to him. Background check. John David Hurt was identified as a former U.S. Army counterintelligence officer living in Raleigh, North Carolina at the time of Oswald's attempted call. Okay, we already know that. No known formal investigation. There is no record of Hurt being formally investigated by the Warren Commission, the FBI, or any other government agency as a part of their inquiry into the JFK assassination. Why would this be ignored? A key bit of evidence. Oh, man. Hopefully Donald Trump will get this information released to us. And this will be amongst those things that are not released, okay? Have not been released yet. Okay. Hurt was not subpoenaed to test. Okay, and this continues. Hurt was not subpoenaed to testify before the Warren Commission, nor is he mentioned in his final report. His name also does not appear in any official files associated with the House Select Committee on Assassinations, which reinvestigated the assassination in the late 1970s. Doesn't this seem very questionable why this would not come up? Oh, they did such a thorough job, right? Okay, later research. Independent researchers and JFK assassination conspiracy theorists later uncovered Hurt's name. Some noted his past in counterintelligence, fueling speculation about possible connections to covert government operations. Okay, possible interviews. What? There is no public record or transcript of Hurt being directly interviewed by journalists or independent investigators about Oswald's alleged call. Hurt himself reportedly denied any knowledge of Oswald or the phone call, according to secondhand accounts. Secondhand. Yeah, I heard from her. Oh boy, secondhand accounts. Okay, speculative role. While Hurt's name became a focal point for speculation about Oswald's potential intelligence connections, no direct evidence ties him to the CIA, Oswald, or any aspect of the assassination. That's conveniently been whitewashed. Okay, my next question. When did he die, and were any of his family members interviewed to get at the true connection to Oswald? Okay. John David Hurt, the individual linked to Lee Harvey Oswald's attempted phone call from jail, passed away in 1981. He was a former Army counterintelligence officer. There's no concrete evidence that Hurt was directly investigated or interviewed about this connection to Oswald. Strange. Hurt's phone number, reportedly called by Oswald, became central to theories about potential intelligence ties. However, the details of Hurt's involvement, if any, remain speculative, and there is no record of his family being interviewed to clarify this connection. Strange. My next question. How could this be in this day of independent journalists and curious conspiracy theorists? How could this be? The answer? The lack of follow-up on John Hurt by independent journalists or conspiracy theorists might be due to several factors. Number one, scarce evidence. Beyond the phone number linked to Oswald, no concrete ties or activities connect Hurt directly to the assassination, leaving limited leads to investigate. Okay. Passing time. Hurt died in 1981, potentially before interest in his possible connection intensified among researchers. Number three, focus on other leads. Investigators and theorists often prioritize suspects or figures with more substantial and documented roles. Okay. Privacy concerns. Well, accessing personal details about Hurt's family or life may have been restricted or avoided out of ethical considerations. What? Anyways, okay. My next question. Does he have any children alive today? John David Hurt, who died December 3rd, 1981 in Raleigh, North Carolina, does not appear to have left documented evidence of surviving children or descendants in publicly available records. Okay. He was married to Billie M. Greer in 1939, but family-specific details such as children or grandchildren are not mentioned in sources related to his connection with Lee Harvey Oswald's Raleigh Call incident. Further research into genealogy platforms or archived family records might provide additional insights. Okay. Switching gears here. Next, Oswald's subject. This is my next question. What are the circumstances and timing of Oswald being employed at the Texas School Book Depository? How did he get that job, and how long before the assassination? Okay. Lee Harvey Oswald began working at the TSBD, Texas School Book Depository, on October 16th, 1963, just over a month before President Kennedy's assassination. He reportedly obtained the job through a connection. Ruth Payne, a friend of his wife, Marina Oswald, mentioned his need for work to a neighbor who knew the TSBD was hiring. Oswald's employment at the TSBD placed him in a key location along President Kennedy's motorcade route on November 22nd, 1963, sparking immense scrutiny in investigations of the assassination. Interesting. Do you remember that the parade route was altered at the last minute? Think about who has the authority to alter that route, to swing right by that Texas School Depository school book depository. And as I said earlier, I went down. Happened to be in Dallas, flying for Delta, and had a layover there. And I walked that whole city, and I took all kinds of video. And please check that out on my YouTube channel if you get a chance. My YouTube channel is It's a Bountiful Life. I can't remember the exact title of that, but if you type in anything about Oswald or JFK, there's only about probably three or four, or maybe 5 videos that come up about him. Okay. Also, I walked all over New Orleans and hit many of the sites. And it's not the greatest of videos, but interesting stuff. Okay, a brief history of the Texas school okay, did I read that? Okay, what is the history of the TSBD building? Okay, when did it become the TSBD, and did it function in that capacity for long after the assassination? Bullet points, please. Okay, here's a brief history of the TSBD building. Built in 1901 as a warehouse for the Southern Rock Island Plow Company in Dallas, Texas. Okay. Transitioned to TSBD. It became the TSBD in 1963. This seems strange at all? In 1963, serving as a distribution center for textbooks. And the subsequent question will, I think it's, anyways, it was not long before the assassination that my thinking was, oh, maybe this was a CIA a front company or something. I'll get to that later. Association with JFK assassination. On November 22nd, 1963, Lee Harvey Oswald was allegedly in the building when JFK was assassinated. And I went to that building. And anyways, post-assassination, TSBD continued operations there until 1970. But later, the building later became the Dallas County Administration Building and houses a 6th-floor museum focused on JFK legacy and assassination. I went to that museum, and it's all about the official narrative. It's all about the official narrative. So it was like the government had created this museum to support their theory. But anyways, there's another comment here about, anyways, I'll read it, I'll get to it. My next question, when in 1963 did it become the TSBD, and what was it used for previous to it becoming the TSBD? And it does not give me exact dates, but here we go. It's almost like it refuses. TSBD at 411 Elm Street in Dallas became associated with the Texas School Book Depository Company, a private textbook distributor, in 1963. You notice how that sounds like it's almost like a public company, but it's a private textbook distributor in 1963, but it doesn't say when in 1963. Before this, the building has a varied history. It was originally constructed in 1903 as a warehouse for the Southern Rock, this repeats, Rock Island Plow Company. Over the decades, it was used by various businesses, including an air conditioning firm and a grocery wholesaler. In 1937, the building changed ownership and eventually came under the lease of the TSBD company in 1963. It doesn't say when. The company's use of the building was relatively short-lived, as they vacated the premises shortly after the JFK assassination. It says by 1970 the building was sold. So this company continued to hold the building, but it was vacated right after the JFK thing. Strange. Okay, by 1970 the building was sold and went through several owners before being repurposed. It is now preserved as a historical site with the 6th floor transformed into a museum focused on President Kennedy's legacy. Okay, so that was another just suspicious fact. Okay, and I ask about that. You did not answer my question. This is my question. You did not answer my when in 1963 did it become TSBD, and when exactly did they vacate the building? Could it have been a CIA front company for a short while? TSBD became associated with its infamous role in history in 1963, but its timeline shows interesting transitions. He still doesn't answer my question. ChatGPT does. The company itself began operations in the building in early 1963. Early, what does that mean? It rented space to serve as its headquarters with a focus on distributing textbooks across Dallas County and beyond. By November of that year, the building and the company gained lasting notoriety due to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. After the events of 1963, the TSBD company continued to use the building for several years. It seems to contradict that earlier statement that it was vacated soon after the assassination, but maybe they used it for other purposes. It was not until the 1970s that the company moved out and relinquished its lease on the property. It's strange here. The building later transformed into the 6th floor museum at Dealey Plaza in 1989, commemorating the Kennedy assassination and its historical context. As for the idea that the building or company being a front for the CIA, there is no direct evidence to support this theory. However, such claims often stem from broader conspiracy theories related to the Kennedy assassination, which suggest intelligence agency involvement. If the TSBD were a front, it would likely have been a short-lived operation, given the timeline of the events and the subsequent leasing of the building. A subsequent leasing history of the building. It said it vacated it soon after, so I don't know. For further exploration, you might consider records from the local archives, blah, blah, blah. Okay, my next question. Don't you have the exact dates for the TSBD starting operation, vacating the building, relinquishing the lease, and changing hands of the property? The TSBD at 411 Elm Street has a history involving several transitions. It was originally constructed in 1901. Okay, this repeats all that stuff I said earlier. Later, the Sexton Food Company occupied the building until it moved out on November 14th, 1961. The building remained vacant for about a year after Sexton's departure, with significant modifications required to accommodate their operations of the Texas School Book Depository Company. These changes included transforming warehouse space on the 3rd and 4th floors into offices and adding a passenger elevator. The TSBD began operations there around 1963, so it's not getting specific at all. But that year, ownership of the building changed in subsequent years, and it now houses museums. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so there you have it. So what do y'all think? Should we know more about Oswald's phone call and his employment at TSBD. How it was arranged. Anyways, I hope you find that interesting, and thank you for listening. Bye-bye.